And Rona Graff's prosecution has finished with her. She's already on cross-examination. Joining us now is criminal defense attorney and MSNBC legal analyst Danny Cevallos and former New York Assistant Attorney General Adam Pollack. So the direct is over. Cross-examination is happening. She's currently being asked about what it was like working for Donald Trump. She says he was fair and respectful. Why was the direct so short? I'll start with you, Danny.
Because she's not that critical a witness in terms of her story to tell. She's mostly establishing beachheads on documents, places, dates, times, especially necessary with a character like Donald Trump who never emails, which, by the way, as a defense attorney, I can tell you how often people are undone by their own emails or their text messages or their messaging apps or whatever the case may be. You don't have that with Donald Trump. So you have to call someone like this witness to establish things like where he was on a certain day, what communications he had, even who was in his contacts, because it seems like someone else was in control of his contacts. So a bit of a throwback to the way this would work in the 90s or the 80s, but this is a witness that won't be nearly as exciting as David Pecker, probably why the people put her next. You usually try to stagger. If you have a witness that isn't as interesting, you put the really interesting one and then the less interesting and then back to something exciting.
So interestingly, Susan Necheles, by the way, is cross-examining. We haven't seen her yet. She's Donald Trump's, I think, only woman lawyer for this case. She's well respected in New York law. She's asking her about her daily life working for Donald Trump. She says every day was different. There was no typical day. 99% of the time, their conversations were about business. Occasionally, Donald Trump would say, go home to your family, which she interpreted as thoughtful. She was invited to the inauguration by Donald Trump. She and her husband sat on the platform. What is Susan Necheles trying to do with Rona Graff here?
As you said, Susan is a very well-respected lawyer in New York City. She represents many difficult clients. Donald Trump would fall into that category, and she needs to try to humanize the client. So here's an opportunity. As Danny said, that there's a witness doing almost nothing for the prosecution. Legally, authenticating records, authenticating calendar, other exhibits, but has no substantive testimony. An opportunity for Susan, for the defense, to start to humanize her client.
So they're going to use her as just somebody who will say, Donald Trump, the president, Donald Trump, the person you read about in the press, Donald Trump you see in these news conferences, that's only part of Donald Trump. The Donald Trump that I've had experience with is a much different human being. Why is it necessary in a case like this, it's about documents, to make him seem, I guess, more likable?
I think it's exactly what you just said. There has to be some kind of counter-narrative. Here, he did it, right? He falsified, he directed the falsification of these documents. They're not going to be able to get away from that. But they're going to try to paint a broader picture, paint a picture of a businessman, somebody going about his business with people who like him, who respect him. She worked for him for apparently 34 years. She must have thought he was a good boss.
Is it important for the jury to sympathize with him? And if so, is it kind of risky for the prosecution to call her as a witness if she's only authenticating things?
No, not at all. They need to call her. I mean, she's one of those witnesses. She is his iPhone for all purposes when it comes to things like contacts and messaging and administrative items like that. They need to call her. They need to authenticate these things. You notice they asked about specific dates. We'll probably see those come back up in the not too distant future. So she was a necessary witness, and there's not a lot of risk. I don't think the people are too worried that on cross-examination the witness is being asked about, was he a nice boss? I mean, they probably could object, but it's pretty much probably harmless in their view. Ultimately, they were going to call her anyway. If that's the best they can do on cross-examination, the people are probably thinking, okay, go ahead. I mean, the defense could have rested without even asking her any questions, but this is an interesting avenue. Why not humanize them?
The prosecution got her, Rona Graff, to say that she saw Stormy Daniels in the waiting room, and they weren't able to get out of why Stormy Daniels was there. It seems like the defense is trying to maybe connect that to her time on The Apprentice. They're asking her, part of your job duties were to work with the producers of The Apprentice. Graff says yes and agrees that Trump was relatively hands-on, her words, with the show, which she says elevated him from being a businessman to a near rock star status. Hoffinger objects. Mershon sustains that objection. With respect to Stormy Daniels, Trump was involved in finding contestants for The Apprentice, right? Graff clarifies that The apprentice originally involved regular people. Trump got involved in selecting contestants once the Celebrity Apprentice began, which Rona agreed would probably be around 2007. Trump would talk about who would make a good contestant with Rona and others. She agreed. He would talk about people who were controversial sometimes. Rona responds somewhat wryly, according to our reporter in the room, some more than others. They're in a sidebar right now. What does it mean to get all this apprentice stuff out of Rona Graff?
I think it's more of the same. How is any of this relevant to the trial? What relevant to the defense of falsification of records? It seems pretty far afield. But it's showing that he's active, he's busy, he's running a company, he's maybe not involved in the day-to-day record keeping, but instead at a higher level.